Mm-hmm. Hello, Arthurian. Yes, we're live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're getting ready for another weekly Daily Wednesdays. You know what you love it. Is it going to come no matter what? You can't stop Wednesdays. We've tried. Doesn't work. Wednesdays always shows back up on the calendar next week. It's like they planned ahead. But we got some things to talk about this week. Ryzen frameworks with AMD, a new version of OBS beta for testing. And I've already found a bug in the pre-show. And let's talk about the latest and greatest YouTuber special in playing Doom. On some retro hardware. Like, really retro. We're talking like Commodore 64 retro. Ooh.
Way cool.
All right, let me get that, and bam. All right. Yeah, I can definitely see, like, one of the commits. We're probably going to have to roll back a little bit on OBS because there's some hitching when we change scenes.
Mm. Yeah.
That's okay. That's all right. So we got about 10 minutes in the pre-show.
Okay.
See what we got going on. Just getting everything finalized and set up. Remind me when right before we start, to do a clap check on you.
Oh,
Jill,
okay.
Because I moved everything around audio-wise.
Just sync.
So I got to dial all that back in.
Okay. Yeah, Arthurian. Here's my mug. It's a Linbit sports bottle. This was from Scale. You know, Scale, the last couple Scales, we haven't had mugs. They used to always give out mugs, but we haven't had them the last few years. So I'm hoping next year we get them back. But I got some other mugs on the Expo Hall floor, and one was from Linbit.
Linbit?
Kind of, yeah.
What's a Linbit?
They're a cloud-based infrastructure. Actually, they're quite popular. A lot of companies are using them, like Apple and Netflix.
For what? I mean, I can Google them.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta look. Because there's so many cloud-based companies.
Let me see. Who did Linbite? Oh, man.
Open source partner for block storage. Okay. Yeah. Block storage.
So if you need to go online and you need to store some blocks.
Yeah.
All right. And you said it's a reasonable temperature today? It's not too hot, not too cold, not too rainy?
No. It's nice. It was actually... It rained during the night, but it was quite light, and tonight's supposed to be the same, so we're not getting like the huge storm they expected, which makes me happy because I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow. So
that's probably a good thing, right? You don't want it to be cold and rainy.
Yeah. Although sometimes it's the funnest at Disneyland when it's raining, only because the park clears out and you get on tons of rides. Yeah, you just walk on.
Time,
yeah.
First came to Atlanta, I got drunk and we went on a rainy day to the Six Flags. They have an amusement park in Atlanta.
Yes,
and it was like overcast, and the entire time there, I'm like, it wasn't that big of a ride, man. I'm like, it's like drizzling. I'm like, they're probably going to close everything. Everybody else had that idea too. And we genuinely got to walk around the park. There might have been 100 people in the entire park.
Yeah.
So we were able to just ride multiple more roller coasters and things. Like, there was no line. We're just like, hey, can we go again? I'm like, sure.
Yeah, that's the best. And that's why I don't mind being at Disneyland if it's raining. Even if it's just slightly raining, it keeps Californians out of Disneyland. And that's the best time to go.
When you think about it, it's for their own good, Joe Bryan, because,
But yeah, some of the funnest times I've had at Disneyland have been in the rain. So I was planning to go anyways. The only way that would stop us from going, me and Steve, is if it was like torrential downpouring, like a major thunderstorm. But it's not that. That is miserable because then they close everything and you just basically have to stay in the store until it lets up.
indoor rides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to ride any of the rides at Dollywood.
Oh, okay.
There's a Dollywood theme park. Yeah, we were in Nashville, just being hipsters and hanging out, checking out all the hipster stuff in Nashville. I'm like, how far are we from Dollywood? And I'm like, we got to go. And we went, and it was just pouring down rain the entire time.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So there were a few dark rides you probably could get on, but that's about it.
I think they had a roller coaster, like in a show or something. We were stuck in like all the novelty gift shop stuff, and we just left. But yeah.
Aw.
All right, everybody, we got about 5 minutes before go time.
Okay, I will be right back.
You got to watch out for old Anakin. He loves riding the rides at Disney. It's a Disney property now. You know, that gift hits differently in 2023, doesn't it? Opryland? I've never heard of Opryland. Oh, it's gone? Boo. I love weird theme parks. I've been to Santaland, and I went to Dollywood, and like I've been to some other roadside attractions when I drove across the country, because I just stayed off the interstates. Santaland exists, baby. You know it. It is Let's go. Let's go to Santaland. It's closed right now, unfortunately, but welcome to the Santaland Fun Park and Zoo. That's right. For you too, can be like, really? This place exists? We got to go check it out. That's a real thing. That is absolutely a real thing. Six Flags. I've been to a couple of the Six Flags. I went to the one in Texas, and I went to the one in Louisiana before the hurricane thing. That was like early, right when I came here. Because I wanted to go to Mardi Gras when we were out in the area. It was good times. Is that the theme park that where they closed because they had like the danger downhill slide for the kids? Oh, it's smallest amusement park. All right, maybe that wasn't it. So what do we think about this? Who can guess what game this is? I'll never guess. I'm not pleased at all. Mostly negative. Oh. 7,900 negative reviews, 3,800 positive. Oh. Crash Simulator crashes every 20 minutes. Naughty Dog. Wow, this runs like crap. The last VRAM of us. Terrible optimization. Oh boy, if you guess Last of Us, you got it right. Mostly negative. Dude, this made me so mad. Made me so mad. I got back home yesterday, pretty early. I was home at like noon. I had some stuff I had to go take care of. And I'm like, it's Last of Us Day. Yes, we're going to sit down and we're going to play this. And I was like, we'll do the Linux Shakedown live stream, because I like to do that when a bigger game comes out. After we did Track Media yesterday. Like, yeah, that'll be dope. And I immediately got worried because I saw that just Twitter was flying by and I'm like, oh no, it's horrible. Then I saw that Strider was in Discord saying it runs great. So then I knew it was really messed up. I knew it was really busted. Then we go see this and they didn't do any pre-release copies for reviewers or anything like that, which is always known as a bad sign. The only time I've ever seen a game not get pre-release copies sent out to reviewers and, you know, people who do benchmarks and stuff like that actually turned out to be a good game was the new Doom. Not the previous Doom, but the Doom before that. Oh, But yeah, I wanted to play Last of Us, but I'm not going to give them... I gave Sony money for the Spider-Man remake, and 6 months later, it finally started running right. Now, people might forget Horizon Ginger Turbo, aka Horizon Horizon... I don't even know the real name of the game anymore. Horizon Zero Dawn? Yeah, all right. Was busted for the first 2 months when it was originally released, but it was much later in the game by the time I picked it up. By the time it started working on Linux, they had all that fixed. So I had a great experience. It's using 17 gigs of RAM. RAM I'm fine on. I got plenty of RAM. I only have 12 gigs of VRAM though. Oh. Yeah. And here's the other thing. I saw, that was one of the things I noted when Strider posted the picture he was running on a Steam Deck. He had it running on medium or low. It looked worse than the PS3 version. A medium or low. I mean, it looked like plastic rendered stuff. Oh, man. And yeah, I just got a little 3060 for the streaming rig in here. So I mean, I live that 1080p life, which I'm fine with. Because usually I'm streaming the game in a window anyway, right? And I think it has DLSS. Oh. I'm just gonna vote my wallet. I'm not gonna give him another $60 until they get it fixed. And admittedly, I was worried about this too, because this is the same development team that made the PC release of Arkham Knight. And Batman Arkham Knight famously was pulled from the Steam store. It was so bad. A AAA game that was so bad, the developers pulled it from the Steam store. I mean, this was before Cyberpunk, which has happened with the Cyberpunk, right? But I don't think they pulled Cyberpunk from the PS4, I think, or you couldn't buy it. It was a time, man. We're talking about The Last of Us Part 1 not being a very good port. It made me very sad.
Oh, hi, Arch Linux Penguin. How are you doing? Cool. Take a bathroom break and hope the kitty doesn't try and come in my room.
Can the kitty open doors?
Yeah, he's gotten to where he leans on it for a long time, and he's a heavy cat, so sometimes he can open the door.
I got an idea. Put the cat outside.
Yeah, that's what I will do if I need to. But hopefully he'll go outside on his own. He's got a cat door.
Dogs I can kind of understand keeping in the house. Cats, all they want to do is break stuff. That's it.
No, he's actually a good kitty.
Man, all people have for cats are excuses. Oh, no, it's fine. No, that's what cats do. Knock stuff over off the table and claw up things. Oh, but they're cute.
They are cute. Yes.
You know what? So's a plushie. You get a little stuffed animal. It's fine.
Yeah, Don M. Our kitty does that too. He knows he's not allowed in here. I have brought him in here under supervision to look around and see his territory. But other than that, I don't let him in. But yeah, he's gotten pretty good about putting his paws around the... we don't have knobs, we have handles. The
handles on the doors.
Yeah, the wavy handle, and he can, jump on that.
Hear him out there messing around, plugging and playing, boom, 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 boom. Click.
Yeah. It's happened during a few shows, but he very rarely makes it in. So...
Well, I mean, that's a good thing, right? He doesn't, come flying in.
Yeah.
Let me check, make sure I'm about, that's about where I want to be. All right. So we're about ready to get going, everybody.
Okay.
I sent out the toot. My Twitter went out, and we got Ruffle. And hopefully we don't have any weird fires, because we are testing the latest OBS 29.1.NOT Beta 1.
Oh, the Dawn, I love your kitty. Aw. And then Mir's kitty. They're both adorbs.
They look delicious. That's what everybody liked about Alf, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's adorable, Dawn. Oh, kitty. No, I love kitties.
It was a different time when you could have like a cute children's puppet in a TV show that ate cats.
Yeah. I like Alf, too. I didn't like that he tried to eat kitties, but I love the character. I always wanted to see his home planet, Melmac. Aw, right. Thank you, Mir. Yeah, say hi to Chloe for me. Hi, Chloe. Yep, the Dawn. That's an appropriate shot of Alf and Kitty trying to eat the kitty cat.
See, if you did something lovable and sweet like that these days, PETA would have a meltdown.
Oh, yeah, I know.
All right. Cool, everybody. Let's get underway and see if we can make this a thing. Okay. That's good. Get a recording going, and Jill, we're going to get a clap test so I can resync everything.
Yes. Okay.
One more, just for safety. Baker's man.
Patty cake, baker's man. Bake me a cake as best as you can.
I want everybody to look up the heavy metal version of that.
Yeah.
I don't even know it exists, but I guarantee you it does exist, right?
Yeah, right.
All right. Fun show for everybody today. Okay, we got that for our outro. We're rolling. Oh, right. So I guess that's one thing I want to check too. All right, cool. Let's do it.
Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined every week by Jill Bryant. We got a fun show, just packed full of stuff this week. We're going to be talking about Flash, new YouTuber special, reverse engineering Linux. Well, reverse engineering on Linux, audio hardware just makes me excited to talk about that. Ryzen frameworks with AMD goodness inside. Sweet. And a new version of OBS that we're going to use right now. So hopefully nothing gets mingled during the recording of the show. But we like to play a little bit of catch up right at the beginning, see what's going on, what's new in our lives. And Jill, you count. I don't count things.
Oh, yeah. So this week marks my 5th anniversary of being a host on Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been 5 freaking years. Awesome years.
You've gotten a lot better too. You remember the first episode was rough.
Oh yeah.
We should go back and watch that.
No. Yeah, you should. I have a very close up of my head too, so I'm a little closer to the camera in those days.
Yeah, if you watch like week to week to week, you don't notice as far as our ability to make the best looking, best sounding show that we can for you at home. It's very incremental upgrades. But when you go back like a 5-year jump, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, things have really changed. You know, and it's always fun. I know, I'm like, wow, look how young I used to be. Aw.
Yeah. So true.
Anything else? You're going to Disney World tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Disneyland. So, to celebrate my 5 years on LWW, I'm going to go to Disneyland tomorrow.
All right.
Of course, I go every month, but I've timed it for this week. I thought that would be appropriate.
You're going to get Steve on a ride?
Yes, absolutely.
Just one. That's all we need. Just one picture of Steve on a ride. Put him in the teacups.
Oh, he won't go on that one. That makes him sick. All that spinning. He doesn't like the spinning rides. He'll go on the roller coasters now, though, with me. He'll go on Big Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain and Matterhorn.
Oh man. Well, maybe baby steps, right? Baby steps.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Yeah.
we'll get into those big bad spooky teacups.
Yeah.
I want to tell everybody about. I do probably about every 3 months or 4 months. I just get the urge to do manual backups because most of you at home, I have my backups automated. Always test your backups, right?
Absolutely.
This is a big thing. This is an important thing. But I just get the notion. I'm like, I want to manually back up like the home folders of all the boxes in the studio. Just peace of mind, nothing else. And it takes forever. You take the home folder and I'm like, all right, well, let's just make a tar.gz or bz2. And you're good with it. I'm like, this takes forever. I was like, surely in 2023, there's got to be a better way to do this. And there is. There's an application which is tar compatible called Pigs, Pigz.
Nice.
And it uses all the cores, which was really handy because I was backing up, just like on Jackbox, the DAW in the studio. I moved that over to Threadripper, and I'm like, okay, and it's just sitting on the one core. And Threadripper is not very fast IPC. It's just a bunch of cores, right? And I was waiting, and I was waiting, and I was waiting. I was probably like 3 or 4 minutes into it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. That's when I did the search, and I found Pigs, and I found a way to do it with a recursion into the directory and to zip everything up. Probably took about 45 seconds.
Wow.
It leveraged all 24 threads on the system, and it was done. I just wanted to share that with you. If you ever find yourself sitting around going, come on, like for a big project, look into Pigs. Also, OBS compile guide is in the works. There's a new version of OBS out, and you really got to think to yourself, why would you want to compile a version of OBS? Maybe you want to try the latest and greatest. I think there's a nightly PPA for people using the Ubuntu's, but if you're on anything else, there's probably maybe nightlies for Arch. But maybe you want to roll your own. You want to include some things or exclude some other things when you're building OBS, or maybe you want to try new features not in the nightlies. I do that all the time too, because what it works like, and you have pull requests, and people are like, hey, I have this cool feature. Like there's a version of new UNCUT available right now for testing that will greatly reduce the CPU overhead for encoding with UNCUT on NVIDIA with CUDA. And you can build that and play around with it. And that's just not something you're going to get outside of being able to compile the program yourself. Plus, there's always the satisfaction of being able to make something. Knowing that, hey,
absolutely.
I can do this myself and I made this. So I think that's pretty neat. And we do have a YouTube channel, or if you just go to linuxgamecast.com, you can see my little 3-minute video I made on this little guy who ate one of my SSDs.
Yeah, poor Vent.
I had to break out Hammerchan and threaten it. Me and Jill we were talking about that in the pre-show. Go back and listen to that if you're a patron. And Jill's had the same experience with some of these enclosures.
Yeah.
You put an SSD into them, and it's a USB external, and you plug it in. It doesn't want to let go of it. Like at all. There was no way to, and I wasn't doing anything for us, what I was telling Jill, but like I didn't do anything for that video to like, haha for the video or effects. I was like, no, I couldn't get this thing out without, I was scared I was going to either break the PCB inside the caddy itself, or I was going to mess up the connectors, just that leverage, mechanical leverage on that. I'm like, So it's just a quick, fun little video I made about that. And I got a case of the SADs. We were talking about that in the pre-show. I got home yesterday, and we did Trackmania, which is good. We had 14 maps. We had some crazy maps, especially that weird downhill green one right at the end.
That one's definitely an LOL map.
That's a silly one. Some fun ones. We do that on Tuesdays and Fridays. Come hang out with us if you like playing 13-year-old puzzle platforming racing games. Trackmania Squared. There's that. All the information's pinned in our Discord channel. But after that, I'm like, okay, we'll get done with that about 6, 7. I'll do a Linux shakedown stream of a game I've been waiting on, The Last of Us Part 1. I've talked about it a couple times. I've been waiting to play this. It's my type of game, and I've never played it before because I've never owned a console. Last console I had was a 32X. You do the math on that. Yes, get off my lawn. And I went to go pick it up, and it said mostly negative reviews. I'm like, oh no. And I went into our Discord and I saw that Strider was playing around with it on a Steam Deck, and he posted a screenshot, and it looked worse than the PS3. And I'm like, what's going on here? Everything just looked real plasticky. It's like,
yeah.
well, I have it on low. And I'm like, ew, that's a bad looking low. And he was getting like 30 FPS on the Steam Deck, I think 30, 45. And yeah, I'm just sad about that. I'm not going to give him $60 until I get it fixed, because I did that for Spider-Man. And Spider-Man took like 6 months before I was able to play Spider-Man at a reasonable, acceptable speed on my system. So, I know, poor me. First world problems.
Yeah. That is just disappointing, because I heard the series is so good.
Yeah. Yes. And
yeah.
That's just my type of, like semi-stealth, the killing something. Man, I love those types of games. I'll wait, maybe. And, we were all concerned about it because it was the same porting house that did the, what was it called? Batman Arkham Knight.
Oh, Batman Arkham Knight, yeah.
And if you don't remember that snafu from way back in the day, that was a shock because they pulled the game from Steam.
Yeah.
They removed it. It was so bad. They're like, we're not going to sell this anymore until we get it fixed. I'm like, well, shouldn't you have thought of that before you put it on sale?
Yes.
Well,
I remember that.
It is back. And I'm just going to wait on that. I'm very, very disappointed. But whatever. Let's talk about what we used to use to make video games way back in the day. It's our first story, and it's Ruffle.
Yeah.
Is it salt and vinegar or ranch? Ruffles.
Ranch. I think ranch. So we are getting closer to being able to play most of our old Flash games and animations once again. So we can do that with Ruffle. And Ruffle is an Adobe Flash Player emulator written in the hipster Rust. Written in Rust. The wonderful coding language known as Rust. And Ruffle runs natively on all modern operating systems as a standalone application and on all modern browsers, including mobile, through the use of the good old WebAssembly. And you can install the browser extensions in Chrome and Firefox-based browsers. And what's cool about this is that Adobe officially stopped supporting Flash in 2021 and has blocked Flash content from running in Flash Player, and web browsers have also removed all Flash-related software. So there has been a desperate need for us to go and play our favorite Flash games. And fortunately, an open source project has come to the task, and we have Ruffle. And recently, there was a huge, big update with lots of improvements to Ruffle's AVM1 and AVM2 engine accuracy for better playback and support of ActionScript 2 and ActionScript 3 games and SWF animations. So this is just really, really exciting. And there's also improvements to mobile devices, which I'm going to let Ven talk about.
Oh man, very, very excited, happy to see a bunch of this stuff because the big thing about this one is they finally got support for mobile devices kind of hammered out for the most part, and the text input boxes are finally supported, and context menus now even work on iOS, which that's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And this release also includes a dynamic audio buffering playback, which is going to help out for any systems that were struggling on really big projects. But I had to think about this. Because I never thought this project was going to get beyond ActionScript 2 and never really make any real progress with ActionScript 3 because the ActionScript 3 runtime, way stricter. And here we are, a lot of stuff game-wise is now playable. And, Ruffle is the reason Homestar Runner content is online right now in its original form.
Yeah.
You can actually go back and watch the original Homestar Runner, which I think is great. And you got to think about Flash. Flash was the original 2D indie game engine before Unity.
Yeah, it really was. You're so true. And so many people got their start on doing Flash animation. In fact, for several years, I even taught it for a beginning animation class, Flash. And that was really great. So we got my students, I had them, they could do animations, or they can do interactive animations, or they could do games.
Mm-hmm.
And I got lots of good content from them because of that. That was awesome.
Like back in the day, I started with Flash, developing in Flash with Future Splash, which is what it was called before it was called Flash. And I worked with Flash up to Flash 4, definitely with the early days of ActionScript. And then I moved on to Shockwave, Macromedia developer, and Lingo and all that fun stuff. But, I hated Flash, but it allowed pretty much anybody to get creative back in the day. It didn't cost a lot, and it was, it worked on Windows and Mac, and it didn't cost much for Macromedia to get Flash itself. And Adobe, when it comes to game development, Adobe, as with most things, is 100% responsible for killing it off. But maybe not like you think, because they did a thing back in the day where they wanted to charge a rev share to game developers for using cross-compiled code with Stage 3D and like Unity, because people are just exporting their games in Flash from Unity and not buying Flash itself, or C as a, Creative Suite 3 or whatever it was at the time. And Adobe's like, well, here's a thing we're going to make you. Then people just started, it brought on, the Unity web player and things like that got developed. So, this is just really good to see. This is really cool. I like a project like this. And it's super important because when I was scrolling through, you saw the sponsors for those of you watching the video version. Newgrounds, right? Things you immediately, this just brings back all the memories. CPM Star, Armor Games,
WoW
Games, Doll Divine, and Congregate. Classic stuff.
Congregate, is a classic.
Man.
Definitely. Some of my favorite games that are playable now with Ruffle are Bubble Bobble, the Revival, Chronotron, and actually one of my favorites that I've spent lots of hours in was Dino Run, Marathon of Doom. You remember that one, Ben?
I remember Dino Run, yes.
Yeah.
It was a different time. We were simpler creatures, but I mean, it's for preservation alone. That is just fantastic.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
Absolutely. And I know so many people today that still want to, still play Flash games, and that's their dominant games they like to play are Flash games.
But they were simple. So, they were like the old mobile games of the day. Now, what I would like to see is we definitely, like one of the Linux Gamecast pre-shows, we went looking for this. Flash authoring tools just don't really exist. So that's kind of sad, but hey, that's all right. That's all right. All this is going to be in our show notes, by the way, so go check that out at linuxgamecast.com. Now, Jill, I want to talk about what is... do I have it back here? Hang on.
I think you have one.
No, I have the original. Okay. For a long time, Jill, this Focusrite, the Focusrite Scarlett is what I called the YouTuber special.
Yes.
This is what you bought. You're like, I'm going to start streaming or making videos on YouTube or Twitch, just streaming in general. You run out and you bought a Focusrite and you paired it with the wrong microphone, which was the SM7B. Then you went out and bought a cloud lifter because you wanted to keep the mic on the other side of the room, not realizing that you bought a kick drum mic or vocal mic that you got to get right on top of and chew. But times have changed. The new YouTuber special is this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Go XLR revolutionary online broadcaster platform with 4-channel mixer, motorized fader, soundboard, and vocal effects. Why is it so popular? Oh, let me tell you. Not because it's necessarily a great interface. There's nothing wrong with it. And we're talking about TC Helicon. They say, hey, it's got 4 Midas studio Behringer preamps. Behringer is Midas.
Oh, Behringer. Yeah.
I mean, nothing about this is what it has. What it has. Does this have a zoom? Oh, it's got a zoom on it. Okay. It's got this. It's got a swear button. Where's that? Where's the beep button? I can't find it. Jill, help me.
Oh, no.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. That's the, bang at pound.
Right.
Hash.
It's never really worked at all under Linux, not to any extent. It's got a bunch of, neat little things packed into it. It's a neat piece of hardware right up until you tell me it's $400. I'm like, get out of here with that.
Yeah.
However, GoXLR utility, we've talked about this in the past on the show. They got another update, and they've been slowly but surely reverse engineering the snot out of this, and that just
Awesome.
just gets me all kind of happy. And what's there to say about this? So, here's the thing. This is like a straight up now full on configuration utility, and they pretty much taught the GoXLR just how to Linux completely. And it now works with Pulse Audio, which is great. It works with Pipewire. No word on Jack. No word on Jack whether or not this works. And, as Joe pointed out, it's made in Rust because reasons. You got to do things in Rust these days.
Mm-hmm.
And the latest release of this, a lot of new, what do they have? New containers and UI improvements, a sampler rewrite to help decrease latency when recording, which is nice, and the ability for the command line interface to communicate over HTTP, which I'm sure you can integrate and get up to all types of interesting and squirrely things. Love to see it. Love to see it. Because again, I always say this to anyone involved in hardware and hardware support for your company. You need to push this up top to the people making the decisions, because the quickest, and I mean absolute fastest way to get your device reverse engineered is not to release Linux drivers. And this is yet another in the long running examples of this. This is how it's done. People will start digging in your hardware. And I'm not making this up. You look at
so true.
I always bring out Blackmagic. Blackmagic has pretty much always had Linux support from day one and good proper desktop. There's no reverse engineer Blackmagic drivers for any of the Blackmagic hardware. Why? Because their drivers are there. Where's the incentive? When you tell a group of people that like hacking on stuff, no, they go, let's see what we can do about this. And this has been going on for a long time. I have a bunch of like Motu interfaces from the mid-aughts, 2006, 2007, 2008, when Mark of the Unicorn were making FireWire audio devices, and the Fado people came and asked, "Hey guys, could you help us out and like show us how some of your backend works? We'll sign NDAs and whatever so we can develop the drivers." And they said, "We're not going to bother with a bunch of smelly Linux nerds."
Yeah.
So they proceeded to reverse engineer their entire stack, which is why open source drivers are so huge and so important, because none of that hardware is bad today in 2023. An audio interface from 2005, especially a high-end one, is just as good. I'm working on a video about this, but planned obsolescence, because Motu's like, well, we don't support the new versions of Mac, and we don't support the new versions of Windows. But you know what? If you buy our new thing, you can use it. Not if you're on Linux. We're like, we don't care. We got the drivers. We'll make the drivers work with the new stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
Because the hardware is perfect. Keeps it out of landfills and stuff like that. Fantastic. Can't bring myself to buy one, Jill, because again, they're like $400.
Yeah, they are expensive. And now that you told me they have Behringer in there. Now, Behringer is awesome, but it's entry level.
Behringer makes cheap stuff, but Behringer also makes expensive stuff.
They make high-end stuff too. Yeah.
It's a lot of companies like that. They have like the low end and they got the high end. Behringer's got stuff like the X32 series and the X series stuff and the Wing, and like they do have high end. But like Midas, they bought Midas. They bought Spirit, the people who make your microphone.
Yeah, they sure did.
That's a Spirit Dynamic.
Spirit Dynamic.
So. They have like a mini version. I have one on the wish list, but it's still like $200. So I want to do a guide for one of these because, as is tradition with so many projects, where are the screenshots, guys?
Yeah, I know. No screenshots. Well, there's something else cool about that besides them releasing a .deb and .rpm is all their UI elements now in the application are now accessible to screen readers, which I think is wonderful because that is a big problem, especially for the visually impaired community. And people like me who sometimes need to use a screen reader because the application's fonts and functions are so tiny.
I just want to see what the screen reader says when you hover over the square button.
Yeah, I bet you it's something like Qbert.
just about nonsensical stuff. I'm down with it.
Yeah. So, and this should make Linus Sebastian's life a little easier. Yes, the squeaky Linus. This should make it easier for him to get his Go XLR 4-channel mixer working on Linux. Because that was an issue not too long ago.
That's a special case, Jill. It's a special case of a human being. Okay. Let's talk about AMD framework goodness is back with AMD powers.
Yeah, so there are 2 new framework laptops available. One is the Framework Laptop 13 with a 13 gen Intel core, and the one that we're all excited about, the Framework Laptop 13 with an AMD Ryzen 7040 series processor. Woohoo! And not only is performance scaled up, but Framework delivered refinements to the day-to-day use experience with a higher capacity battery, matte display, louder speakers, and more rigid hinges. And I have a little story about the hinge from Scale, actually. I was doing an interview, and the CentOS booth had their wonderful framework on display running Cent. And I accidentally waved my arm. I hit it, and the hinge went, woo! It slammed close real easily. And I didn't really hit it that hard, but it slammed close. So that is something that needed to be fixed. And that laptop was just fine. I didn't hurt it in the process. But also, the new laptops are now available for pre-order in all countries they currently ship to, which is the US, Canada, UK, Germany, France, Netherlands, Austria, Ireland, and Australia. And as before, both pre-built configurations start at $1,049 USD that work out of the box with Windows 11. Yeah, I know, sad face, right? We put Linux on it. And the Framework Laptop DIY Edition starting at $849 USD, allowing you to bring your own memory, storage, and operating system, including Linux. Woohoo! I was just hoping they'll eventually in the future have some pre-installed with Linux. And what's also cool is now you'll be able to select your bezel color and keyboard on the DIY edition when ordering, with a range of new bezel colors coming this throughout the year. And yeah, I got to, like I was saying, I got to play actually with 2 Framework laptops at the Southern California Linux Expo, and I was really impressed by the sturdy feel and how light and thin they were and how performant. So Framework has been nailing it with modularity, upgradability, sustainability. They just have it all there. It's like our dream laptop, our dream computer. It really
They've been doing
is.
good. They've been doing really, really good. And, it might come Windows 11, but I want to remind you, these are optimized for Linux as well. They've gone through all the troubleshooting guides, and they provide official support for Manjaro XFCE, because that's the best desktop manager in the world. And also Linux Mint 21.1, which is whatever it's running, you can install XFCE on it too and be cool. Yeah, they got a Linux page. All right, check this out. Let's see. I didn't even go to their Linux page. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. Oh, that's good. And it tells you Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, fingerprint reader, stability, easy setup. Look at that. Just
what distros everything works out of the box, and what distros.
On all cylinders. Really good to see. The first
awesome.
shipments for the Intel later this month. AMD boards will ship in Q3, aka July. Pre-orders are fully refundable, $100. Keep that in mind. All of the upgraded modules are compatible with the existing Framework laptops. So, any of the extra bits that you've bought, to the additional modules that you can add, Wi-Fi, extra stuff like that, which is really good. And really, this is the absolute dream. Why I think a lot of us are excited about Framework, simply because we've been told for the last 30 years that this was impossible. An upgradable laptop that is slim, sleek, easy to do. Couldn't be done. Gateway, Dell, whoever, all throughout the years, HP, like, no, Acer, can't happen, impossible. Here it is, right in our face. And
absolutely,
we don't have performance numbers for the Ryzen 7040 series laptops just yet, but it shouldn't be too bad, because the 7040 series, that's the drop-in replacement for the old Ryzen 6000 series. And so we're getting Zen 4, RDNA 3, and there's they shipping up to 8 core variants, so that's good. And here's another thing, though. They have, of course, they have 3D models. So if you want to take the new motherboard, because you can buy a new motherboard, put it in your existing framework, which is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And just upgrade it that way. Then you have your old motherboard. Like, what do you do with that? Well, of course, you can 3D print a case.
Yes.
Which is neat. But one thing I wanted to say, they're partnered with Cooler Master. So you can
awesome.
just buy a case now and plop it in. It's got a stand on it and Visa mounts on the back. You can turn your old framework, or you can buy a new AMD motherboard and pop it into one of these guys. And it's really cheap. It's like $30 or something like that if you don't want to be bothered with the 3D printing. $39. So
yeah. Very
really,
reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Visa mounted too. So cool. Very happy to see this. Very excited. And, they're reasonably priced too.
Yeah, definitely. And there's something really cool coming down the pipeline for them. They're actually going to be releasing a 16-inch, the Framework Laptop 16, this year sometime, closer to the end of the year. And it's supposed to come with a removable discrete GPU module. Sweet.
I'll have to see what they're using, because there is a standard for that.
Yeah, that's right. There
that
have been.
Nobody ever uses, but hey.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see where they go. Now, framework, I want a 20-inch. I want a 20-inch laptop.
Yeah, me too. I'm just happy the 16 is coming, because that's what I've been waiting for, because the 13 is a little bit small screen for me.
Yeah, it's a little tablet size, isn't it?
Yeah.
You gotta think about it like that. But, 16 inches, that's good. Better battery in the new versions as well. They managed the same size battery physically, but they've managed to squeeze out a bit more juice, which is great to see. All right. So one of the things we're running right now is OBS Studio. We use that for streaming. I build my own version. Basically, I strip it for parts and I take out all the extra stuff that I don't need. Add in a few things that might not be standard, such as jack support. A lot of distributions don't ship jack support, and we run all jack audio, everything in the studio. But the new version is chock full of features. Maybe you don't know what OBS is. It's streaming software. It's free, it's open source, and it's been running on Linux for a long time. Really good support. And if you're thinking about streaming to YouTube, Twitch, wherever, it's probably where you want to start. I really can't think of an alternative on Linux. And the newest beta, a couple of things in this that I want to talk about. Mainly streaming support for AV1 HEVC to YouTube. So AV1 is going to be a huge change in how much bandwidth you need to get good video. And all of the new stuff supports it. The new NVIDIA cards support it, the new AMD cards, and even the ARC series, Alchemist cards. All of those support it as well. So that's been enabled, and I can't bring myself to buy an A770 as much as I kind of want one. But
I know.
And I got to be honest, like the 49 is just out of my budget right now. So we're just gonna have to wait, and I'll, eventually we'll get there, and I'll be able to do some stuff and play around, and make some guides for it. But there's also support for multiple audio tracks in the simple audio output, which is really cool, because we want to take a look at. I have it up and running. Here, do I have a screenshot of, I'm on my Twitter page. Look at this. Shameless self-promotion, you guys.
Yes.
Here it is. That's the new setup for the simple page, which I was happy to see, because I can talk people through setting this up, and, a better way than just your standard output. But you have multiple audio tracks in the simple output, and makes it way easier. You also have lossless audio as shown in your recording options from simple output. And you used to have to go to the advanced and create a bunch of stuff that people looked at me like I was absolutely insane when I showed them the advanced tab. They're like, I don't know. I don't want to type in these moon glyphs of N. That's all weird stuff. So you can get a really good high quality recording right from the simple stuff. And you get better options these days, which I'm very happy to see. They've also fixed an issue with V4L2 source on Linux, where the capture device's frame rate would be a little bit squirrely. So they've gotten that done, and they fixed listing pulse audio monitoring devices incorrectly. Yay. Here's a big important one, though. If you're using jack, like me, my brothers and sisters out there, they've changed the naming of your jack sinks. So they will now display OBS in the name, which means it's going to break all of your routing. Jill thinks that's cool.
Yeah.
Just like, that's awesome. I really want to redo all my routing.
No,
Because
that's
what you
not
have
fun.
with the jack is, like a situation like this, we're getting audio from another PC. I'm talking to this, Jill's on another PC, and we're running in over the network, and it goes into the DAW, and the DAW sends that over the network to the streaming PC. And all that has, you have to like save all those routing connections. It's like dragging. And you do that with a snapshot. I use AJ Snapshot, but you can use a session manager. All of that you've had saved is gone. You have to redo it because of the renaming. Just keep that in mind. I don't want anybody to get any big surprises installing this and going, hey, what's wrong with that's what's wrong with that. Also, something that I've been using for a while is the hardware decoding for media playback. If we're playing back a video or anything to that effect, can now use CUDA for decoding. So that'll take that hit. And we're talking, that can be significant, playing a little video. And you don't think about it, especially if you get a bunch of stuff stacked up while you're playing it at the same time. So if you get an NVIDIA card, good news all around. So yeah, anything you got on that?
Yeah, so I think it's cool. They actually added HEVC and HDR support to the VAPI encoder for AMD users. That's really sweet. And they also significantly improved screen capture performance on the Intel Arc GPUs. So that's wonderful to hear too. I don't know anyone who's used it yet for that, but I'm hoping one of these days that me and Ven will get our hands on one and be able to play around with it.
It's one bug we did discover right at the beginning of the show. I have a couple of Blackmagic Decklink cards in the Threadripper.
Oh, yeah.
So I noticed a bit of video stutter if we go from, what's an easy way? If I go from this shot, I'll start waving, and if I go to this shot, you see that?
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen when we go back, just
when you transfer to the bigger.
Yeah, there was one of the commits was some type of a frame ingest estimation for Decklink hardware, so I'm going to have to go back and play with that and do my right thing and submit a bug report so people can look at it, so that won't make it to the official version until that gets solved, whatever it may be. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about running Doom on a Commodore.
Woohoo!
Why? Because we're absolutely insane. But before we do that, we want to take a moment to thank you for making this show possible. Everyone who supports the show, the best way to do that is patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. We have a new patron this week, Joe.
Yeah, we do.
Because if you do join, we're going to shout you out on the show. Like Joe
FEW2. Feud. Welcome back, Feud. It's nice to see him back. Me and Ven earlier were like, that's a name we know from the past.
It's been around for a long time. I remember Feud from the IRC days. Billions of years ago in the future's past. If you got a moment, share the show, social media, all that. Head over to linuxgamecast.com. We got a support button. Bunch of donations. If you want to pick us up anything, and again, patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Get access to the Discord where we're hanging out the other 6 days of the week. Get the live and uncut version of this show and Linux Gamecast Weekly. If you need about 6 hours of Linux content in your life, that'll do it. Access to our show notes and so much more. Also, we have an Amazon wish list for the host. Jill's got a bunch of Blinky stuff if you want to pick that up for her. Why would you do that? Well, it just makes Jill happy. Also, you get to send in a note that Jill has to read, because that's my stipulation. Like, hey, can we have a wish list on the show? I'm like, what would make it interesting? Okay, you got to read a note when they send it in. I'm like, fine, we'll do that.
Absolutely. I could have more plushy penguins in my collection, and RGB ones to boot.
While I don't have a personal Amazon wish list, I put one together for the studio of things I'm thinking about, planning on buying, looking at doing the Epic system. I think that'll be a fun build. Couple of audio things, really expensive keyboards, and like monitors and curtain studio stuff. And look, there's that little evil thing, $229, which is more than I think it's worth. However, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about Doom.
Woohoo!
That you can run using a Raspberry Pi.
Yay. This is awesome.
It's rad. It's rad Doom. Turbo rad Doom.
It sure is.
Doom on a C64, C128 using the rad expansion unit. Welcome to this tech demo. This is so neat. Now,
awesome.
A couple of things. The expansion unit itself is just a neat piece of kit. Again, this is going to be in our show notes. It connects to the Commodore 64 cartridge port and uses a Raspberry Pi 3A, 3B, or 02W to emulate the RAM expansion unit of the era. Now, it does bypass the 6501, 8500 CPUs to provide the full power of the Raspberry Pi's ARM CPU. But what does it do? It gets you this. We got to take a look at this video. It legitimately gets you Doom.
Yeah, 50
on your
frames per
C64.
second.
Right?
Pretty cool.
Oh, man. That just neat. That's neat. And, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I would expect Doom to look a little bit worse on the C64, but...
Yeah, it's actually not bad considering that it's using the graphics from the C64's original VIC-2 chip. Pretty impressive. It shows you how powerful that GPU was back in the day.
That's great. And again, I want to give this just a mention of the cartridge project itself. And this guy's got a bunch of cool stuff. But the RAD expansion unit itself there it is. Look at that. How cool is that?
So sweet, Vin.
Yeah, and
this is a lot easier to do Doom emulation on than there is another project called the Super CPU where you can upgrade the C64 CPU and play Doom with that. But this is a lot easier. It's definitely a lot easier for the average user to get going.
That's neat. And that's something that stuck with me, I think, from the early days. The first time I ever installed Doom and DOS. I think the shareware version, it said something like, as oxygen pervades our atmosphere, so should Doom. That's always stuck with me though. Yeah, can it run Doom? Great subreddit as well.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been awesome hanging out with you, but we got to run. Thanks for showing up. Come check us out live if you get a chance. We do this at 3 p.m. on Wednesdays. Head over to twitch.tv/Linux Gamecast. Check the schedule button. It'll do the time conversions for you. And we'll see you there. But until next week, let's cue up some music and roll those credits.
Aw. And thanks again, Feud, for coming back again and being a patron. Awesome. Now we have you on Discord, too.
Oh, cool. No. Fancy keyboard equals studio equipment?
Oh,
yeah, that's not a fancy keyboard. That's a Blackmagic. That's a DaVinci Resolve keyboard for video editing. So yes, studio keyboard.
Yeah.
It's not even fancy. It's just stupidly priced.
And then earlier, I was trying to remember the name of my mic. It was the Aston Stealth.
Yes.
I was spacing on the name, and then got bought by another company, and then got bought by Behringer.
Behringer just straight up bought them.
Yeah. Yay. So thank you to all our wonderful patrons. And for those of you in chat, we have so many.
3, 6, 8. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you. Good night.
Love you all. Yay.
What's that, Joe?
A heart.
Oh.
Oh. Good night. Yaki Yam. I love your name. Yaki Yam. That's great.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, we did it.
Yay, we did.
All right,
OBS survived. The new alpha survived.
All right, everybody. We'll spend about 10 minutes after show. Then I got to go run and turn this into a podcast, but I got to get up and do a little bio break. So.
Oh, okay. No problem. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And thank you, Pewt. I think this is the first time you've been in live when I've been on LWW for 5 years. Or maybe you listened earlier. Yeah, before. And thank you to Arch Linux Penguin. And of course, our Theron, our advisor in chat. He's our highest patron, our advisor. He's awesome. We had lots of fun stories this week. Yeah, this was a big news week for Linux. It was hard to choose which ones to talk about. But Ven and I just kind of picked the ones that we want to talk about and we're excited about. Oh, and thank you for all your congratulations on 5 years of LWW. I couldn't believe it was 5 years. Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm officially been here longer than Pedro had. It's Ven and then me and then Pedro and then Matthew Strider. He did it for a year. But this has been so much fun and so wonderful. It's really opened my world up, and now I am podcasting professionally. So without LWW and Ven and Linux Gamecast, that wouldn't have happened. So I'm very grateful. It's been a nice transition since I've been retired now officially from teaching.
Why did you wait so long to retire?
Yeah, I know. Can you believe I was teaching over 30 years? Wow.
I mean, it isn't ridiculous, man. I retired almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing in my retirement, but man.
Yeah, I know. You're still working. I mean, you know.
I don't understand. I'm sure there has to be people like that. Like people who want, like, I just want to sit around and do nothing. I would go insane.
Yeah.
If I didn't have stuff to do.
Yeah, same here. Yakiyam, I taught computer animation and motion graphics and editing for 30 years on all the different platforms, starting from Atari Artist way back in the day to DOS, Autodesk Animator and 3D Studio for DOS, then moving to Windows, and then moving in the early 2000s to Blender. So my students that wanted to use Blender could do Blender, or they could use Maya, or they could use 3D Studio.
What was your first episode, Joe?
110?
110?
Wait a minute. I gotta look. It's been so long, I gotta look. Do.
I think 2018, March 28th.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh gosh. Yes. 111. Okay. I was close. But, you know, I was a guest a few weeks before that. And then this is when I was officially full co-host. The first one I was on, it was me, you, and Jordan.
Acquire.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I also have it on my phone and on the Chromebook, just to be sure. But
Pedro.
it's something you can use, I guess.
I don't.
The Intel H.
Oh yes, yeah, we got everyone. I got also in the video. Later on, I got Matthew playing on the rig, and that was a computer that I built to raffle off.
Oh, it looks so bad. Sounds so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, DeCresney, he was well, he actually when I started he was still in Portugal, and then he moved to the UK. Yep, Mir was in there. That was when I was doing my Southern California Linux Expo review, Scale 16X.
See, that's a nice little screenshot.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, my Steve husband couldn't be in chat because he had a meeting. I'm so sorry.
Oh, poor Steve.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch.
All right, that's running good. I gotta make a note to. I gotta come back in here later this evening and figure out what's going on with the deck link. So did we get that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time, Vin. Every time. bump.
See, that's like the weird thing, though. It's like when I'm going from this scene
Yeah, big to
to that
the two
scene, and this is the same
yeah.
scene, just cropped. It's like something in this scene is making it weird. So that's what I got to figure out. What's going on? I don't know. I don't like bugs like that, but hey, you know what? I know how to use Git. I can revert that commit. It's not a problem. So anybody, what do we got going on? It's middle of the week. Anybody got things planned up for this weekend, rest this week? I don't have too much. I got to finish that OBS compile guide. That took me forever because I knew this beta was coming out. So there's some new dependencies you got to add in with WebSockets and stuff like that I had to track down. And I got all that punched in and pretty much got the guide together. I just got to record it and sit down and do that. That's really all I got going on this week. I was going to be playing The Last of Us, but not giving you $60 for a bad port. Fix it.
Yeah.
Fix it, fools. The new D&D movie? Oh, is that coming out this week? That's what's his name in it? Chris Pratt? No, not Chris Pratt. What's his name? Star Trek guy. Captain Kirk.
Well, is Shatner in it?
No, Star Trek guy. Captain Kirk. The one that people know. Pine, yeah.
Oh, Chris Pine.
The best Star Trek captain.
No. Yeah, that makes sense. That Pine would be. Huh.
Yeah, he plays the bard, doesn't he? Yeah, the D&D movie is either going to be really good or not good. Like, I don't think there's going to be like a middle ground for this.
Yeah, I remember Jordan talking about it in the pre.
There's a trailer for it if you want to go watch it. It's been out for a while.
Yeah. I didn't realize Pine was in it. I missed that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's going to be the bad type of cringe too, because sometimes cringe works. You look at it, you're like, oh no, it's so bad. But you know, you get a group of people together with the right substances. Cringe can be entertaining, but like this is just going to be that type of cringe where you're like, no. Yeah, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like Army of Darkness level of campy, right?
Oh, that would be awesome, actually.
Like this is my boomstick type stuff, and we'll see. And what I'm curious is how accessible it's going to be for people not like thoroughly versed in D&D, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's going to be curious how they'll probably have lots of in jokes for those people who play all the time. I imagine that's going to go over the heads of someone who's never played.
Yeah, I don't know an awful lot about D&D. I'm not a very good litmus test, though, because I know more than somebody who doesn't know an awful lot.
Yeah.
Just because, association, right?
Yeah, and we have Jordan. Yeah.
It's like everybody I've known through my entire life played D&D at some point, and
yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, I had played in the 70s, and then hadn't played until here on Linux Gamecast when we did a few campaigns on Jordan's game night. That was fun. I enjoyed it.
I've read all the Drizzle books, and I've played the Drizzt. What was
Drizzt.
it? The game, the horrible game that they made. We have that. Me and Jordan and Pager are going to play through that game at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember the name of it.
I forget the name of it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and, I've gone to game conventions a lot, so I've heard...
Dark Alliance, thank you.
Yeah. Dark Alliance, yeah, that's it. Thank you, Bayako.
It's a Terabad. We were just hoping that they were going to, because they were doing some work on the Dark Alliance game, and we were thinking like maybe they're going to get in shape, and it seems like the development's just tapered off. So it's going to be a really glitchy, janky, trine-ish adventure.
Okay. Oh yeah, Artharian, that was so much fun. I remember, yeah, Artharian played with us. That was really cool. I remember you would stay up real late so he could play. That was really fun. Yeah, I do love D&D. It's having the time to play it because it requires
The organization,
so much time.
You got to get a bunch of, then you got to have a bunch. You think getting 2 or 3 people together once a week's tough?
Yeah.
Try getting 5 or 6.
And then, with Jordan, we did that one campaign, and I think it was like 10 episodes, and that's a lot. Especially, you got to have everyone commit to showing up, and that's hard.
So the audio sound good this week? Sound worse? It shouldn't have sounded drastically different.
Yeah, you sound great to me, Vin.
Should just sound the same. Well, what we hear is different than what they hear.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because we have to.
Yeah, we're getting the.
I mean, you're getting processed audio. Basically, you're getting just an expander EQ and a variable bus compression, but our mix runs through the bus mix, which is the hardware back here, which gives the compeller and the de-esser. Then it goes through the
YouTube
stage limiter.
Yeah. Or Twitch.
Bringing you that wall of sound processed audio. Why? How? Why? I don't know, because why not? I like buying old stuff off of eBay. How? Old radio equipment.
Aw. Thank you, Baxlix.
You mean Basil 1X?
Basil, I know. I don't know why I've been calling him Basilisk for all these ages. Basil. Oh, there's Steve Husband. Steve Husband, you missed it. This was my 5th anniversary episode, so you'll have to go back
just
and watch
in time, Steve. Oh, that's such a shame.
The whole episode and the after show. Then brought up the first episode I was on as a full-time host, 110, and LWW 110, and played it. Parts of it.
It was everything you would imagine. I can go back and you always got to go back and watch yourself. Like I get that real easily because I edit. I do all the editing. So I always see the show right after I get done doing it, and I'm like, oh, I need to work on that. It's very important to improve as if you're doing podcast, broadcast, or just streaming, to always go back and watch what you do. And I mean, this applies even if you're doing like stand-up comedy or improv. That's how you get better. You learn, you take notes, and you're like, oh, I'm doing this too much, or I got like this weird tick or something. Like, you just work on it.
Yeah.
From that aspect, and if you go back, that easiest way to tell you're getting better is go back and watch something you did like 3 years ago. If you don't cringe at it, you need to work on it.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and look at your old stuff and you go, oh no, what was I doing? That means you've gotten a lot better. When you see something that makes you cringe that you used to do, you're like, oh, okay, we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I can go back maybe 2 or 3 years ago and you just see like evolution of how you do it.
Definitely. And we had, lower quality of return video. That was when you were using Google Hangouts, and it was horrible.
We had Hangouts. We used Discord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like now, like the audio chain we have right now, like Jill's audio is a 500 kilobit, 500K Opus.
Yay.
Because that's like the audio that we send, and is that lossless? Not technically, but you could null test that against the local recording. You're not going to hear any difference.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then, I take the time to sit and EQ and mix our stuff into our master bus and how it gets processed and goes out to you. Because my goal is like when you're listening, if you're just listening to audio, I want you to say, oh, these two people are in the same room having
Yeah.
a conversation. You know, it's not people are separated everywhere, and that can, two people, that's really easy to do. It's a little trickier with like three, especially like four people. But, you know, you don't have like that jarring, like, oh, that person sounds completely different than that person. That's important to get that dialed in. Yeah, I remember Skype. I remember we were using Skype before Microsoft bought it.
Yeah, I remember that.
The first year, probably like the first year and a half, maybe 2 years of Linux Gamecast, we were using Skype. Then Microsoft bought it and immediately started making it worse. And that's not even joking. Like
the quality went way down,
Linux
too.
client, they got rid of like widescreen. It went back to 4:3 on Linux for no reason.
Yes. I remember that.
It was silly. It was ridiculous. And now, fortunately, I mean, we use, I set up my own Jitsi server and hacked it up the way I need it to work for these shows. And I make sure we handle all the mix minus digitally on this end with this box. And it works great. We can have super low latency real-time conversations with each other. And we don't have to worry about like tripping over each other's words because like we're right there.
Yeah. We're all synced up too. Ben works really hard on the sync.
Yeah, Jitsi's awesome. Jitsi's also a big pain in the butt, but it's still very awesome. Mm-hmm. It has some of the worst documentation of any piece of software I've ever dealt with.
Yes.
I've been over on multiple occasions. But
And that huge config. I've looked at it before. It's insane.
it's not very well documented. But you know what? It's got a great community around it, and you can get a bunch of support, just like in their forums or, you know, sorting through their issue tracker on GitHub.
Yeah. They actually have a really good mobile app too. That's the one I recommend new people to use if they've never used Jitsi, just because it works really well without futzing.
Oh man, good news, everybody. After Skittles just posted 4 years late, just showed up. Just got his Librem 5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a
Can
thing.
you imagine getting a brand new 4-year-old mobile phone?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's insane.
I would be like, don't open it. Put it on eBay.
Yeah.
Hardware's hard. Hardware's hard. That's why it's so impressive that framework, right?
Yeah, framework.
That
Look
they're doing
what
so
they're
good.
doing. Yeah,
That they're doing so
they're
good.
amazing. They got
And yeah,
they've got all their ducks in a row. You know, they're doing it right.
see, yeah, there's not much in the like mobile space. I'm kind of like, I don't need to get a new tablet right now, but I want a big tablet. I want like a 12.5 inch tablet. But I can't find one that's not like $600.
Yeah, I know.
I want to spend $600 on a tablet. I spent $500 on a tablet when I bought that Nexus 10, and it took me like 7 months not to be angry every time I looked at it.
Oh, so true, Arthur. And yeah, Pine 64 is awesome too. They're nailing it.
Well, Pine's got it right. Pine, you know what you're getting when you're buying a Pine device. You're getting development hardware. I mean, it's something to play around with, but it's priced accordingly, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
$200,
Yeah,
you know?
$100, $200. It's not like $700. Like you're not buying a premium thing that shows up 4 years later, and you're like, huh.
Hey, Ven, we need framework to make a tablet.
Framework would make it interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Why not? Then you'd have something you could have.
Well, I want something that, like, I want to get one for the studio that runs Chrome OS, just to have some extra stuff in here available to me tool-wise, because, you know, I always have a tablet on the desk to keep track of a couple of things, but I really do want something that can still run Android apps, and that's why, like, you know, Chrome OS kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the lighting in here is controlled through an Android app. An iPad too? Oh man. Yeah, wait, do I have an iPad? No, I don't have an iPad. I had an
I
iPad,
do as
but
part
I
of my
gave it.
collection.
It was It might have been a 2. Was it? Did they make a small iPad?
Yeah, the mini.
Okay. I had one of those for a minute, but I gave it away. Because what's Vincent going to do with a? Yeah, so what does God need with Starship, right? What am I going to do with an iPad? Nothing. And I have no idea what I was going to do with it. And I'm like, here, you want an iPad? Here you go. It was an older one. But yeah. I'm thinking about putting the thermosiphon in Jackbox. Doesn't that sound interesting?
Ooh, yeah.
Did you have you seen these things?
I don't think so. Doesn't sound familiar.
This guy?
Oh. No. I've never seen that.
It's a
Elite or Intel. Okay. Ice Giant.
yeah. It's gravity driven.
It looks like a
two-phase cooling.
GPU.
This thing's
top.
massive, man.
That's cool. Yeah, I hadn't run into that one
The
yet.
heat from the CPU boils the liquid inside the evaporator. Apparently these work pretty good.
Cool. It's only 170 too.
It's
That's
not too bad, is it?
Yeah.
It's getting summertime. I'm thinking about putting just like better cooling because I have I think Artheron, which is still running strong, baby. That 120 millimeter single radiator. Who made it? Corsair? Yeah. Corsair single, AIO. And that was made for the Ryzen 1700 that was originally in Jackbox. Now we got the 5600G. I just want to put something with a slightly better cooling performance, but also what bothers me is having that radiator hanging in the top of the case. And under that radiator is a $1,000, $1,200 sound card,
Wow.
which costs more than everything else in the case
Yeah.
that it would leak right onto.
Yeah. Lava lamp tech, as Steve Husband says. So true.
Dude, Artheron, that AIO is still the business. If you live, if it gets like 20C, you're probably always going to be 100% permagood. But, here, everybody, here's a shameless plug. Go to our website, go to our studio equipment under About. And this is made because I'm getting old and senile for situations just like this, where I can be like, hey, what was the thing in the thing? Where I don't have to think about it. This thing. Do they not make it anymore? Aw. Yeah, this thing's great. For cooling, if you got like the 65 watt CPU.
Yeah, it's a nice size. Yeah, mini.
Yeah.
Fit in the case.
It works.
Yeah.
It's not fancy and it doesn't blink a lot. It just has a solid white LED on it. And there's probably like a newer version of it though, right?
That's nice because, that's really nice for small form factor cases.
I get it in a big honking case. I get it in that big Corsair.
Yo, yeah, your
Cube.
big cube.
Yeah. Great AIO for the price. I think like new, what were they selling for? Like $70? I mean, they're silly cheap.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
sure-
then I was just remembering episode 111. That during the show, it was as you were showing earlier, was the Scale 16X video I did, and I reviewed the conference. But in the after show, that was when we played my studio tour, my coming out to podcasting studio tour. And boy, has it changed. It's very different.
As things should be. And things should always mix and match. Things get better.
Yeah, that was a great show. I had lots of my friends and family in chat. That was so cool. With all our patrons.
What else we got going on? We got to bounce out here about 4:30, so
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Arch Linux Penguin Wadroid is great. In fact, I know people who use it on their Pine 64 devices like me. I've used it to get Android apps working. There's another one out there too for Android.
I've never played with Wadroid.
Yeah, Wadroid's pretty sleek. It's the easiest out of all of them. There's a couple other projects that do that too, but they don't seem to work as well. Yay, Basil. Yeah, see other penguins? I've got 30 of these were given to me by our patrons here on Linux Gamecast and LWW. But I have amassed, this is a lot less than I actually have. I have several, close to almost 200 now. So penguins, because they're also in my cabinets too. And I have a big bag of them in storage. And you'll notice just about every week, every other week, I move some around and put a new one in and take one out. I try and make my background change a lot. Makes it interesting.
Bag of penguins, man.
I sure do have a bag full. I have a big, huge penguin that's about 24 inches tall. And that one's in a bag. It was behind me for a long time. And I have a huge gecko. Thank you to Mir. I have a gecko, a big giant one. I'll eventually have to put that in here. I need to find a space for it. It's so huge. It's one of my largest plushies. Yeah, and then I've been wanting to get ones that big, but it's space. I just don't have it.
Oh, you got it, Jill. It's just that you got 200 other things taking up the space.
I do. Yeah, and we gave out bags of. I actually.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. $600.
Yeah.
What does this thing do? Does this thing
You can get them on AliExpress for about $100 for the really big giant ones. And I want to get one, but I just. Yeah, where am I going to put it? That's a problem. I was thinking, Steve Husband and I had the thought of hanging some from the ceiling. Hanging a big one behind me from the ceiling. Oh, yeah, Lego penguins. I love Lego penguins.
Get a penguin hoodie.
I have that. I have the blanket. And I have most of those penguins that you're scrolling by.
Got a Lego penguin? Nice.
Yes, I've got Lego penguins. Yeah, in fact, at Scale, at the Linux Chick-fil-A booth, I always end up giving out penguins that I have duplicates of, because sometimes I forget what, there have been times I've ordered a penguin on Amazon, and it was already one I had. So
I'll show you something that's kind of fun. I posted this in our Discord earlier before the show. Is this how you do binaural recording, or will I be suspected of terrorism?
Oh.
On Linux Audio.
Oh my goodness. There's the Red Scarlet.
Yeah. Former YouTuber special. Taped to a jug with 2 microphones shoved under the handle.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that might be considered a little fishy, wouldn't it?
I said that's probably a solid 3 on the TSA acceptance factor scale.
Yeah.
That we use for single board computer projects, taking them through the airport. Oh man. So good times, everyone. Jordan is going to be starting a new game tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it.
I don't either.
I have a Deadfall Adventures. Wait, no, it wasn't Deadfall. No. That wasn't
Deadfall. Oh my gosh. I remember years ago.
Strange Brigade. He's going to be starting that tomorrow night. Multiplayer game. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pop in. I'm going to try if I get a chance. It's multiplayer. It's like Tomb Raider
Strange
exploration.
Brigade. Yeah. That looks like fun, actually. That looks a lot like fun. I have it on my wish list.
So it was like crazy cheap during, like 6 months ago. It was like $2 or something like that.
Yeah. That's when I grabbed it.
And I bought a copy, and Jordan's got it. I played it, works great under Proton at pretty low.
Oh, thank you. If you increased his patronage.
patronage.
Oh, thank you, Fute.
Dope. So, if you want to come, it's all about like getting people together. We do that, on Tuesdays, and Fridays with the Trackmania, and Jordan does it on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to come in, I don't know. I think it's like 4-player, maybe. I'm not sure. That's going to be at 7:30. Just ping Jordan in our Discord and be like, "Yo, I want to come play." That's all it takes.
Yeah, I was just checking. I had on my wish list, and no, I bought that during the sale.
Yeah,
you go back and you play. You bought games you forgot about, and then you get duplicates when you're over at all the loot
Jill's
crate.
like one person I've never bought a game for on your Steam wish list because I've been to your wish list, Jill.
Yeah, it's huge.
And it's just every game that's ever come out. I'm like,
So every sale, including the last one, I always pick out like 10 of them that are on sale for $10 or less. I
have no idea which one you want. And it's like, man. All right. Do I have your thing on? Do I have your Steam thing on? About thing? No, I can add that if you want.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we got like our little. You can click on our
Yeah.
Steam things, and it'll take you to the.
That sounds good.
I just got over 1,000 games.
Oh, nice.
1,003.
Aw. And you have more, of course, on all the bundles.
Man, I've probably given out like probably 100 games now.
That's awesome, though. That's a great way to get rid of them all, Ben.
That's what we do on Friday. Yeah, Trackmania.
Yeah.
You win a free game of what? I have no idea, but you get to pick it. So, also we have a Linux Gamecast Weekly Steam group that I think we've never mentioned, and there's 32 people currently in chat, 213 members, 8 in game, 48 online. So I don't even know. I'm in the group.
Yeah.
Cool, everybody. It's been fun hanging out with you. Mm-hmm. Have a great rest of your week. Yay. We don't see you until next week. And Jordan will be back Thursday. We'll be back, me and Jill, on Friday for Trackmania at 7:30 p.m. It's a bit late if you're on in Europa, but if you stay up late or afternoon on the West Coast, East Coast, whereabouts in Saturday, Linux Gamecast Weekly. What are we going to talk about Linux Gamecast Weekly this week? All right. We have to say goodbye to Windows 7 and 8 support for Steam. Dolphin is coming to Steam. There's an update for Tanks and some other bits going on. I'll be sending out show note access to everybody in that Patreon tier later today. So if you have some show suggestions and thoughts and hints, you're welcome to participate in how we put the show together each and every week. All right.
Mm-hmm. Aw. Bye, you all. Thank you so much. And yeah, Steve Husband, you do have a Steam account. Actually, you've got about 30 games on there. But it's mostly me. I play them on there.
That's why you got to enable Steam family sharing.
Yeah, I did. But some of the games, like we want to play multiplayer, and you can't multiplay the Steam share family. So like golf with your friends, I had to set him up account so we could play golf together in distance. And